Hey guys, welcome to an episode of Searching for Goodness. And today we have Ace Parsi as our guest. I was able to connect through Ace Parsi through Matt Chasen. He was our connector. He told me everything about Ace Parsi, and I feel like as an Iranian American, he has to be on this podcast because there's just not a whole lot of voices from the perspectives of Iranian Americans, and I felt this was a great time to catch up with Ace. So shout out to Matt Chasen and Ace. Thank you so much for being a guest on our podcast, and please for our listeners, please tell us about your background, how you ended up in West Virginia, and what has led you to run for Congress for the state
Sure.
of West Virginia.
Yep, the state of West Virginia, the what we would say is the best Virginia. I immigrated to the United States when I was 8.5. So just to age myself, I am now I think 44 years old. Just as my birthday was this last week, so it's not like I forgot, but like
Happy belated birthday.
thank you, thank you. My youngest memories were living through the Iran-Iraq War, and I raised that because I think in the experience I really learned what it was when people were good and their government wasn't, when people desperately wanted to have a voice in the decisions that affected their lives and they didn't, and when government was the greatest source of injustice in people's lives. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and for the first time since she was born, I worry about whether that's the kind of country that she's gonna live. So I don't think that in immigrating to the US, that I ever thought that there was something magical about American soil or air or water that it would dictate that we would forever live in a democracy, especially this year as we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of American democracy. I think it's all a matter of institutions, norms, and learnings and how we react in these moments. And I felt like I've shared with friends that this is my love letter to American democracy year. And I've been so pleased and so touched to be able to write that with so many people that I care about. Um, I actually came to West Virginia. I moved here 10 years ago from Washington, D.C. And if any of you all live in Washington, D.C. or not West Virginia, let this be your West Virginia promo. You should move to West Virginia. I would say, inch for inch. And I have lived in California as well. So I know California's got breathtaking beauty itself. But inch for inch, I find West Virginia to be the most beautiful state in the country, and also people that are just inherently very decent. My wife was born here and grew up here, and so when we had my daughter, we thought that it was a much better decision to raise our daughter in this state than to stay in Washington, D.C. And boy, has it been a good decision.
Indeed, man. I also spent part of my childhood in Falls Church, Virginia.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
I was born in Winston-Salem, and one of my
Uh-huh.
I had a teacher that asked me, "How did you guys like ended up in North Carolina?" And I would just jokingly say, "Well, I don't know about them, but I ran." But no, I mean, our my great aunt's husband was already an established. He was already a doctor in Iran, so he got his residency at UNC Chapel Hill. And for
Yeah,
people who don't know, UNC Chapel Hill is like one of the oldest public universities.
yeah,
So they built a life in North Carolina, and then we just followed them because of
yeah,
a family connection. And
yeah.
it's really interesting to hear that you were, and then of course we went to Falls Church, Virginia, and then that didn't work out, and we moved back to Winston-Salem, and I was there until the end of my high school. And yeah, so but thank you for shining light
Yeah,
on
I
West
would
Virginia.
say, yeah, I think we all have these sorts of different immigration stories. I ended up in growing up in northeastern Pennsylvania because my dad's best friend's wife's sister lived there. So I think that, that there's something really magical in this way about America that, Iranian culture, you have like people that have lived there, that family there for thousands of years. This is still relatively a young country built on immigrants. And so I was just struck this last week. I was at an event, speaking at an event in Charleston, and I asked people, how many of you are immigrants? Maybe one or two raised their hands. And then so like, how many of your parents? How many of your grandparents? And you don't have to go too far to connect to that reality that this is a nation of immigrants
Right.
and connect that.
Hi, I'm Ace Parsi, and I'm running to be your member of Congress. I'm running because I care about you, your family, your neighbors, your community. I'm here by Grafton City Hospital. It's one of the many rural hospitals that was endangered when the administration took the chainsaw to Medicaid, a program that our most vulnerable neighbors, community members that we rely on. I'm here because I want to fight for programs like Medicaid. I believe that you deserve health care. The old Catholic cemetery is right across the street from Grafton City Hospital. It's a reminder that when we don't take care of our people, that is a consequence of that. I'm here because I want to fight for you. I want to fight for your kids. I want to fight for your neighbors, for your communities. But I need you. I need your voices. I need your stories. I need your volunteer hours, and I need your donations to stand up a campaign that shows that West Virginia can go in the right direction again. And we can do that together. So please, join me, West Virginia, bet on me, and I'll fight for you.
It's a stereotype with the Iranian community. When people think of the Iranians, they always think doctors, lawyers, insurance brokers as
That's what my mom thought.
yeah, as like cliches as it sounds. And I know so many Iranian people that are really like just involved.
Yeah,
They're very immersed in politics. I
yeah,
was wondering, well, there's so many Persians in California. Like, I don't, has anyone ever like
yeah,
run for Congress or U.S. Senate? I know one person that's kind of like a distant family. He's not, I mean,
yeah.
he's, I'm not directly related to him, but he's related to um, my great aunt's like late husband.
Mhm.
And, but like, I mean, you would think that it would like, the more would like run for, like public office.
Yeah,
And I know there are a few. I know there are some like Iranian women that are now like U.S. judges, and
yeah,
I know there is an Iranian congresswoman in Oklahoma. I think an Iranian American congresswoman in Arizona.
yep, yep.
And of course, I want to ask you, what led you to wanting to run for Congress?
Yeah, I think, I mean, for me, that was the reality. As you don't know, there's that song of you don't know what you got till it's gone. I think for some of us who are immigrants who've come from a country that was less free, we do know what we got, and I think that we want to safeguard the best of what this country is, and so that is really, as a dad who wants that for the future of my daughter, that's really what drove me to it, is that I don't want to think back years from now and think in this particular moment when there was this gut check for the American experiment, what was I doing? And so that's what drove me to run. And I would say there's a different stereotype that I've come to, that people told me, is that, oh, Iranians also don't contribute to campaigns. And so I would also like direct people, if you are interested in supporting this sort of hopeful campaign, that please go to our website, aceforcongress.com, and consider donating to the campaign, because this is, if we know what's at stake here, if we know what's so precious and could be lost in this American democratic experiment, then I think we need to do what we can to plant the seeds for something better, and no better people to do it than us.
All right, and I commend you for bringing another voice, to
Mhm.
our society, because the Iranian diaspora, I mean, has contributed to American society for a little
Oh, of
for
course.
decades,
Oh, of course.
give or
Yeah,
take.
many
Yeah.
decades. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, like I think that there's a whole lot of different immigrant communities that find what is in this country to be precious and worth defending and securing because they know what the opposite. So like it's one of the reasons I think actually immigrants in this country are some of the most patriotic Americans you will find,
Right.
because they don't take it for granted. They weren't born into it. They know what's at stake here.
And when people think of Iranian people, they always think like, oh, you guys came here after 1979. But like prior to the Islamic Revolution,
Yeah,
under like when Iran was ruled by the Shah,
yeah,
Persian people came to America for
yeah,
science and art.
yeah,
They were involved in NASA. And to come
yeah.
to America and be involved with science was a huge deal.
100%. Yep. Yeah, my parents went. So I was born in Iran, but my older brother was actually born in America because my parents went to college there, and then they went back, and then they were trapped after the revolution. So otherwise, I would have, yeah, like I think that that's the reality.
Right. Well, man, I'm commending you for wanting to make a difference. And I'm going to move to my next question.
Yeah,
Our show is kind of built around the meaning of goodness, and I
yeah.
wanted to get your take on the meaning of goodness. Like, what is goodness?
Yeah, I mean, I have so many. I think about that issue all the time. And I've always thought about it, but I think that I've thought about it much more since I became a parent because one of my ultimate goals when I realized I was becoming a parent is I want to raise a loving child. Like a lot of people want like successful, but I actually, if she's loving and lives a meaningful life, then I'm totally good, whatever she wants to do with her life. And so I've thought about this, and one of the things that, like I saw in the research, is that you can't just tell your kids to be good. You have to be good in order to do that. And so I've thought about this question a lot. I would say there are several different sources that I would draw on that question. One is that I draw it from my faith, and I'm actually Christian. But I think of the central of love thy neighbor as yourself as a core tenet of like Judaism has the Ten Commandments, the Christianity has the two, love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself, and those two are equal. So I think about that of like how do we treat people not only as yourself, but how they want to be treated. So I think that that's part of what goodness is. I actually, for myself, in exploring that question, came to like when we say love, well, what is it? What do we mean by that? And I mean there's something very specific by it when I say that. I mean that you show gratitude, interest,
Mhm.
validation, encouragement, and empathy. I have like, I know not everything has to be acronym, but I acronym them for myself, like give, like you show gratitude to the people around you. You show genuine interest in them. So you're curious and you care about that. But you're curious, but you also care about the answers in their lives and you validate them at their core. And then you encourage and empathize them. So I try to do that. I think that can do that as individuals and interactions that we have, but I think we can also do that as a society. So I think goodness comes out in both micro level interactions that we have with people, but it also comes out in the macro of how we design a society that really serves the most vulnerable, that has a preferential option for the poor and those that are in need, and that's how I would define goodness.
Well, I mean, that's well said. That's essential. Thank you. And also, I wanted to ask you, what is your take on artificial intelligence? Because it's in the
Yeah.
forefront, and there's
Oh
a lot of
yeah.
people who are concerned that their jobs can be replaced.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in order for AI to be controlled, it comes from passing laws to regulate it,
Yeah.
make sure that it doesn't go out of hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what is your
I
take on
mean, that's two of the concern, like that I have for a few of my concerns in terms of my own daughter's future is that um I want her to live on a habitable planet. I want her to uh, live in a democracy, and I want her to have strong human relationships. AI affects all those different things. I am deeply concerned about this rush towards endless profit. Uh, and if you think about, why do we have this sort of AI investment boom, and where does it lead to? I believe, like, the shareholders of that have a belief that at some point these AI will replace human labor. So we definitely need to concern about the human labor, but I also think that it affects like our human relationships in deep ways. So if you were to email me back and forth, and you used AI to respond to me, and then I use my AI to respond back, at some point that would affect the very core nature of our relationship. And I think that there's something to be concerned about as people when we see companies building AI to match human voices. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to replace the notion of human relationship. So I think we need to be really worried about that and concerned about that and what that means for our society, what that means for human kindness and engagement with each other. And so double down on some of those principles. I also think that there's major environmental concerns here in West Virginia. There's so much in terms of like these data centers that are being built in our state. And, West Virginia is no stranger to having outsiders come into our state and take our natural resources and take the profits and take it out of state. That's, I think, been a real deep experience in our history as West Virginians. And we're finding that that's happening now again with these data centers, that people don't get a voice in where they're getting built. They're getting built sometimes in really pristine, beautiful areas. They have an enormous strain on our water supplies here, and our electricity grid. So people's water could get polluted, people's electric bills could go up, but also at the end of that dystopian rainbow could also be that your human relationships are undermined.
Wow. I mean, you mentioned the environment. You mentioned that you want your daughter to live in a habitable planet.
Mhm.
You have a young daughter. I have a young nephew. I mean, what can we do to really like to fight against, climate change?
Yeah,
What can we
yeah,
do to make this planet better?
yeah. So your question is around climate issues right now. Am I understanding?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that that's a very complicated issue here in West Virginia because for so long our economy has been based on coal. And I think that there's a reality that sometimes people on the coasts say, of course you should transition from this. And, like this is, and the reality is that for so many West Virginians, they haven't been offered anything better to engage with. You say that we're going to get rid of coal, but there's communities that have relied on it. And so I think that if we're really to reach a meaningful solution to this, places like this in Appalachia need generational levels of investment, and they need to be honored for what they did. That the coal industry in the state upheld like the entire economy of the United States. So we can't just undermine and toss these people aside as if they were just parts of a machine that served us and now they have worn out their usefulness. So I think part of what we need to do is make an investment here in places like West Virginia, that really honors and builds these communities, that they're not some sort of other. So I think that's a key aspect of it. Um, and I think that there's an opportunity. Like, so I would, there's companies here like there's one company, Solar Hauler, which their whole like motto here is mine the sun. And they're building great jobs here in our state. And so I think we need to really make places that have invested so much in terms of the energy that has powered this economy now say like you are going to be the center of creating a different sort of energy. Um, and I think that the other aspect of it is that, when I see a lot of environmental ads, I see polar bears, and I'm not saying like, I'm a fan of polar bears. I love, but this is not like I wouldn't. And please, like, if you're, I just want to say for anybody who's a National Wildlife Federation person, I am pro polar bear.
Yeah.
But I think that we need to be able to make that message in terms of people and the human beings that are affected by this. And so, like, here in our state, we have we are wild and wonderful. West Virginia, that's our state motto here. And so to honor that reality of what we treasure about our outdoor beauty of our environment, and to invest in terms of this as a matter of like faith communities, that this is our expression of how we live out our faith, to live out our responsibility to the natural beauty and what we've been given as gifts, that we're stewards of this. I think that those are the things that we need to do. I find sometimes that friends who are environmentalists end up talking down to people around here, and I just hate it. I hate that part, because I think that if we sent the message and engaged in a conversation around stewardship, around preserving our natural beauty, and investing in places like this, we would make much greater headway as people who care about the environment.
Well said, man. And I really hope that you will use your power in the world to help, preserve the nature, especially in West Virginia. I've never been there, but I've seen pictures. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I will hope
Everybody come
that
down to
nature gets
West
preserved.
Virginia.
So if you want nature, uh, take a trip to West Virginia.
Yep, absolutely. Inch for inch. You've heard it here. Inch for inch, the most beautiful state in the country.
Great. Also, I wanted to ask you. We're talking about, we're being blessed, living in an area where we can just enjoy nice nature.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, I'm not to say that there's not good in any nature in the Middle East, but just for over
Yeah, yeah,
decades, Middle East has just become a very volatile place.
yeah,
You never know what's going to happen.
yeah.
And right now, we are really experiencing some scary times. I want to ask perspective from another Iranian American. How do you feel, about this war? And do you see that do you see hope? Do you feel like we're going to see light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah. I mean, I don't ever like to, I'm a hopeful person, but I never want to say like, you know, like I'm looking out at the horizon and seeing hope. I think it's a function of how we live and how the individual decisions of people that are listening to this, of each of us, of what we do to create that sort of hope. So I never want to say I'm hopeful. I think that this is going to all turn out, because reality is like none of us know that. The only thing we do is we control our actions in that. Um, I am very disturbed by the fact that, let me just start by saying that I am no fan of the Ayatollah and the regime in Iran. I don't think any Iranian American, like you'll find many Iranian Americans or any that are. That's why, we fled that reality to come into this. But I am very mindful that like when I was a kid, there was a supreme leader that chose whether we go to war or not. And I want to make sure that fellow Americans know that that is not the type of future that you want, to have that supreme leader be able to have that sort of decision, whether that's a Democrat, Republican, or independent. So I am very distraught about the power grab in this, and the billions of dollars that have already been invested in this very short amount of time. And I'm also that if we did attack in this way, in a way that violated our constitution, and there is no accountability for that, I worry about the what that means for the Iranian people. We've already seen several schools bombed, children killed, and if this had been done the right way, I would be more confident that the people that were responsible for that were held accountable, and that not only were they held accountable, that we tried our very best to make the thing whole again. but that's not what this administration is showing. I think that what I'm concerned about is that the Iranian people are caught as chess pieces between two different sides, neither of whom they have any control or say in. And for those of us who still have some say, especially in this government, especially somebody like me who's running for political office, we need to be the voices of those who don't have voices. That's always a belief in terms of how I want to live my life and how I want to show up. So I I don't know. I don't think like um I don't know if I would say I'm hopeful, but I'm resolute. So that's probably the best answer I got.
What is your message to the people of Iran and also the Iranian diaspora, especially who live in America, where when they see these type of things happening in Iran, they're using two spectrums of their brain
Yeah,
as someone who is like the son or daughter of Iranian immigrants, but also being an Iranian American who has
yeah.
immersed in the American culture.
Yeah, I think that the my message to the people of Iran, I want you to know that there are so many people that actually care about your fate and people that care about you as human beings. And that I'm sorry for the struggles that you have. I'm sorry that you're worried right now for your kids, your grandkids, and for your own lives. And I'm sorry that that's the reality. But I want you to know that there are people that care. The message that I have for the diaspora goes back to our conversation earlier about Iranians not engaging in that sort of politics is they get engaged. You have a voice where others don't. And again, I will give a plug because and an invitation. Uh, I'm one of those people that's running. I could use your support. I could use any sort of expertise, support, and donations that you can. So like there's a line that those that think themselves too moral or honorable for politics end up getting ruled by people less honorable and moral than themselves. And I think that that's true about democracy. So we can't just complain about what's happening and not take a role in trying to make it better. And so I would invite people to take small and large actions to make it better.
Great. Well, I really hope that the people of West Virginia get behind you. I would love to, see your voice get louder and louder as talking to somebody who looks like me. And I hope that
Yeah,
the Iranian community can also be aware that
yeah,
there's somebody in this country that is fighting for a cause.
yeah, absolutely.
So, Ace, um, right now we are, you know, commemorating Women's History Month.
Yeah,
Um, I have a friend, outside the Persian race who brought to my attention about the high level of education
yeah,
that has been reinforced in the Persian community, particularly women. And she said, "Well, I wish that my family was really 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 championing like education." And,
yeah,
and then she asked, "How are women in Iran like very educated under like a repressed country?"
yeah,
And had to like inform her that well, women have evolved and always been very active in the
yeah,
education department, but their biggest hurdle has been going against a system designed to work for men and having to wear a hijab wherever they go places.
yeah,
And then now after um, the Massa Amini protest,
yeah,
um, that has led to a movement of women who just stopped wearing the hijab and they have changed their way of life because of the growing resistance.
yeah,
Even though the morality police is still policing women for not following
yeah,
the strict dress code, most of the women are not wearing hijab because authorities just cannot keep up with the growing number of like
yeah,
resistance. And that's just like one example. I mean, not to
yeah,
discount other women from outside the race who also have like gone through hurdles. I mean, a lot of women had to fight to have the right to vote and have the right to
yeah,
for having the right for equal pay.
yeah.
What is your take? with Women's History Month?
I think the Women's History Month, one of the things is that so one, I want to just like again, like highlight that there are women who choose to wear the hijab as part of their religious faith, and I think we need to honor that reality. But I think we need to honor that choice and the sacrifices that people make. And I would say that, so much of history, the historical figures we study are men, but I think that in every single movement, major movement, it has been women who have driven uh, the real leadership and work to make for a better society. And so I think this is a month that we need to honor that, but overall continue to invest in that reality.
Well, thank you. Well, to all the women out there, happy
Happy
National
Women's
Women's
Month.
History Month. Um, we commend you and keep chasing excellence. Thank you so much. Any closing thoughts and where people can find you?
Yeah, they can, so on social media at Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, it's at Ace for Congress, at ACEFORCONGRESS. Uh, and on TikTok, it's at Ace, the number four Congress, and at aceforcongress.com. And it's again, like we would value any of your contributions and support of our campaign.
Well, thank you so much, Ace.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm rooting for you, man. I really hope that doors open, and I
Yeah,
hope your voice gets louder because we really need that right now, especially in the Iranian community. So
thank
thank
you.
you. And we have a slogan. We say at the end of our podcast, goodness will win.
Yeah,
So after the count of three, let's look to the camera and say goodness
yeah.
will win. All right. One, two, three.
Goodness will
Goodness
win.
will win. Thank you so much, Ace.
Bye.
And please make sure to subscribe.
Thanks.
Thank you.